I would like to try and demonstrate how to create layers with letters that can then be used in a composite image. Going to File and New, it has a 5" by 4" output size with 300 dpi, and that is going to be a perfect size for this. I'm going to double-click on the layer in order to unlock it. You will notice there is a little lock over here, and once I click this, the lock has gone away, which means I'm actually able to utilize this layer. And if I double-click in the thumbnail, I'm going to actually take this down to a completely opacified so it is translucent, and therefore it would be completely see-through and wouldn't be providing any color for this image. I'm going to now select the letter function key over here. You will see that I've chosen Arial. It is a non-proportional font, which means that it is able to always be exactly the same size. I have selected bold from the drop-down list. I am using 15-point font, although you can clearly select any font you like by just typing it in. I usually like to use a strong marker so it has a very well-defined border. And the color I have selected in this case is black. You will notice that I'm selecting web-only colors since that's where most of the articles are now viewed, and you can click in any of these spaces and you will see that as you click in the color, it tells you what the color is going to be, and in this example I am going to use black. So with that selected, I'm going to go to approximately the middle point here, click once, and type a capital letter A. I then click on the layer below, about the 2.5 mark, and create a capital letter B. I'm going to go to the lower portion, create a capital letter C, click on the layer, click inside, and create a capital letter D. I'm going to bring in a grid from what I had created previously in a different lecture, and here you will notice that with this particular grid, goodness, I don't know why that's not. There we go. I have this grid maintenance and I've created a vertical and horizontal, so if I click on that layer and just drag, you will see that I've now dragged it to this other file that I have created, and here it now has that in the background so that I'm able to move it to wherever it is I like. I need to click on the Move key, and with this now vertical layer, I'm going to just move that particular entire grid line to get it as close to the center of 2.5 and 2 as possible. I'm going to do the Control and plus to bring it up to the maximum, where you will notice we're at 1600 magnification, so this is the most that you're able to have. I click here in this layer and you will notice that it really is quite closely aligned to dead center. I can use the Control and arrow key in order to be able to move it slightly. And here you will notice again, I'm going to try and line it up on this with the Control key, moving it over ever so slightly to have it aligned. I'm going to bring it up to the top and cover so that I'm able to cover over this and make sure that it is in fact completely aligned, which it does seem to be. So since the letter B is over here, why don't we actually just start with that one? So I'm going to click on the letter B, and I still have the Move key functioning here, and if I use the Control and down arrow keys, you can see that I am moving it down. Just to the point that it is grayed out. I move it over to the point that the B is just grayed out like that as well. And then Control, using the arrow key 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and using the Control and the right arrow key 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which now means that that is exactly 5 spaces over from each of these areas. Let's go to the A, and I'm going to use this little scale bar over here to bring it up, and you'll notice that it is a little bit higher than where I would like it to be. So let's, still using the down arrow keys, I'm going to first make sure that it just gives me that ever so slight gray, and I'm going to use the left arrow to bring it exactly to the point where the gray is immediately touching the edge of the canvas. Now, Control up arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Control right arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you will notice that that letter has now been placed in the correct position. Let's go to the C area, and I'm going to move this over slightly, take my drag bar and pull it all the way down because I need to be able to work with the letter C in this particular instance. The Control arrow keys down, bringing it down to the point that that is just aligned on the base, and bringing this over so that that is also aligned just on the base. And now Control up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Control to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means these are now perfectly aligned. Let's go to D, and again I'm going to use this particular bar to bring it to where the arrow is going to be. You will notice that it's way up here, and that doesn't really matter because I can just drag it down. You can use the arrow keys if you prefer, but I have that one layer of slight gray adjacent to each one. Control up arrow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, control right arrow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now it is in exactly the same position. If I use the control and minus, I'm able to bring these up, and now you can see as I look at these particular layers, I have created a perfect opportunity for each of these various letters to now be used in a fashion with a composite image. You should save the file. In general, I keep it in the PSD format, and in this case I'm just going to call it lettering and keep it as a PSD file. You don't want to maximize, you want to maximize compatibility, but you want to keep the layers separate so that you're able to utilize them at a later time.